Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to our first ever Wild Card Pick Show. I'm your host, Jim Cella, in studio with JDash.
What up?
Hanging out, ready to do the spread.
I guess so, man. You're hurting, huh?
I'm having a rough day. I need to rehydrate. I should have brought that whole bottle of Gatorade up.
You must be doing a little bit better than Easy, though. He can't even make it, and he lives 2 minutes away.
He can't handle his alcohol. He's not a real man like I am.
Well, what about Johnny Parlay?
Johnny Parlay, you know what? I don't know. I wasn't with him last night, so I don't really know what his deal is. Maybe he's having one of his infamous hangovers where he puts black sheets over the windows in his bedroom, and he like lays under the bed, and it's crazy. He's like a hobbit whenever he gets these hangovers.
And Jeff isn't here either, so it's just me and you.
Yeah, Jeff's working. He has a legitimate excuse.
Did he party last night?
No, he did not. He was helping his family out a little bit.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone.
Please believe. Happy New Year. Happy pick show. Wild card round. I love NFL playoffs. Who do we got for our first matchup?
Well, let me give our records for the regular season first.
I guess.
Jim, you went
so close.
37-41.
Jim went 5-0 last week, by the way.
5-0 last week. Good week. Your winning percentage for the regular season was .474.
So close.
Johnny Parlay went 32-30 with one tie. His winning percentage for the season is .516, and he went 21-11-1 in his final 33 picks of the regular season.
On fire.
Yeah. I went 29-25 and have a .537 win percentage.
Garbage.
So I win the regular season title. Thank you very much.
I think I won because I have more wins.
Garbage. Nonsense. In Easy, he ended the season at 500 at 16-16.
He's garbage on those NFL picks. He needs to stick to that college pop.
Please believe. Although 500 isn't bad. You can't hate on that because you didn't even make it there.
Yeah, I have more wins than everybody else, so that's all that matters.
Nonsense.
Brother.
All right, let's start off with the Arizona Cardinals at Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are -6.5, and the over-under is 37.5.
37.5. I was seeing 38. It must be moving a little bit.
So it went down. That means people are betting on the under, correct?
I'm guessing so because Carolina, I don't know. You have no idea what team you're going to get out of them, first of all. And Arizona's quarterback is garbage, and their defense is awesome. So I think that's pretty much the way people are leaning.
You'd think that Arizona's defense is awesome, but they actually ranked 29th against the pass this season.
18.7 points per game, though.
Yeah, it does. Points are the only thing that does matter, but the yards have been there.
We know it firsthand watching the Steeler games lately. They've been bending, a little bit up and down the field, but then holding late. So they're giving up the yards, but not the points.
One thing about Arizona this season, they were on a roll early in the year. They were, 9-1 or something at one point?
At one point, they had the best record, somewhere around 8-1 or 9-1.
Yeah, but since then,
they're on their feeling it.
They're on their fourth quarterback or whatever. They lost Palmer.
I think it's their seventh quarterback, maybe.
They lost Drew Stanton. And there was someone, who was the other quarterback? Do you remember?
I don't know.
They got Lindley in now. I thought
Jimmy Hoffa?
Yeah, there was one other one. But they're actually 2-4 in their last 6 games. And they are my Super Bowl pick. But I don't see that happening.
They're 11-5 against the spread this year. So they might not be winning lately, but it doesn't look like they're failing against the spread too much.
Yeah,
their defense helps them cover.
At San Francisco last week, they didn't look too bad, and Lindley didn't look too bad either. They only lost by 3 points, and at one point it looked like they were going to win that game.
Was it last week or the week before he threw his first NFL touchdown pass?
Lindley?
Yeah.
It had to be last week because the week before they lost 35-6 versus Seattle.
Okay, yeah, then he had no touchdown passes yet, so it was last week. He got a couple under his belt. He's good to go.
To me, Carolina looks like one of the hottest teams in football to me right now. They've won their last 4 games. They blew out Atlanta last week at Atlanta 34-3, and they won at New Orleans 41-10 in Week 14.
Carolina's definitely a better team than early in the year. They're scoring a shade over 21 points, but they're still giving up a little bit over 23 points. Against the spread, they're 8-8. 8 games have gone over. Cam Newton looks like a better quarterback now. The offense looks a little better. Is it Stewart or Williams is healthy? One of them is usually healthy and one of them is usually hurt.
Stewart's been healthy for a while now, and he's looked pretty good. They're actually 7th in the league in rushing yards, and he has a 4.6 average. He has 809 yards on the season on only 175 carries. Cam Newton is their second best rusher with 539 yards, and he has 5 rushing touchdowns.
Getting it done. The Panthers are 2-3 against the spread as a favorite. They're 4-4 against the spread in home games, and they're actually amazingly 7-5 against the spread against conference opponents. That's definitely one of the things that helps them win the tiebreaker to get the division.
It's all about their defense. They've let up 17 points or less over this 4-game winning streak, and we know Arizona's offense has been struggling most of the season without Carson Palmer. They have good receivers, but they just can't get the ball. Floyd did have a big week last week, but he's been a huge letdown this season. Larry Fitzgerald didn't have a great season, even though we still love the guy and would like him here in Pittsburgh.
Believe it.
So, to me, the difference in his game is Carolina's defense.
Yeah, Carolina's ability to control the ball on offense with a good running game and then have good defense can help out. It's at Carolina.
At Carolina,
Yes. Okay.
Would you rather have it at Arizona since Carolina is a under 500 team?
See, I mean, it bothers me that they're an under 500 team, but I like the setup the NFL has where the division winners get favored, and Arizona did not win their division, so they don't get the home game.
Makes sense to me.
I think Arizona's offense has picked it up a little bit. Lindley feels a little more comfortable back there. You know, I know you said Floyd's been a big disappointment, and Larry Fitz isn't up to his normal potential. But I think they got a game in them. They're going to rise up. Fitz is going to catch 500 passes for like 6,000 yards.
6.5 is a big line for this game. It's not like Carolina is some dominant team, even though, like I said, they are one of the hottest teams in football right now. But that's why I'm going to go with my first teaser of the season and say take, Carolina plus a half point and over 32.5.
32.5.
I think Carolina's going to win this game.
NFL game.
I really don't think Carolina is going to lose this game. Arizona, it's too hard with the quarterback they have right now. Like you said, he is playing better, but it's hard to trust him in a playoff game.
See, I think they get one good game out of this offense. I think Fitz pumps everybody up. He gets Lindley playing well. Malcolm Floyd might have a big game here. The running game, not that great in Arizona. It's not terrible. But I think their defense keeps it close enough, and I think this is more of like a 4 or 5 point game. So I'm going to take Arizona plus 6.5. Sticking my neck out parlay.
What is parlay taking?
John's taking Arizona in this game. Easy's taking Carolina.
So we got 2 Arizonas, a Carolina, and I'm taking the teaser then.
Believe it.
All right, our favorite game of the week, obviously. We have Baltimore at Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh wins. Brrrah!
Is that all we're doing for this matchup? Should I give the line too? Or we got Pittsburgh at -3 and the over-under is 46. This is your pick of the week. I'm sure people will know what you're picking before we even say anything, though.
Pick of the week. Everybody knows I'm going to pick Pittsburgh. I hate the Baltimore Ravens. Myron Cope hated the Baltimore Ravens, and I love Myron Cope, so I got to hate the Baltimore Ravens. This line, only a little bit nervous because it's probably going to get bumped up to 3.5 by the time game time actually comes up. So, you know, the Steelers-Ravens are always usually 3 or 4 points at the most deciding the games.
Not this season.
Not this season, you're right.
We got blown out by them 26-6 in Baltimore, and then we blew them out 43-23 in Pittsburgh.
6 touchdown passes by Big Ben. Believe it.
So whoever wins this game should be favored by 20 right now.
You know, Baltimore's never won a playoff game in Pittsburgh. 0-3.
0-3, huh?
0-3 in Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
I was at 2 of those games.
Me and Easy might be going to this game. If we do, we'll broadcast straight from our seats.
Do it up. I won't have to do anything. Just
on my iPhone, I'll Skype it, and you'll just have to sit here in the studio and record it. That'll be a good time.
But I was saying the Carolina Panthers are one of the hottest teams in football, probably the hottest team in the NFC right now. Personally, I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are the hottest team in the AFC right now. They're on an 8-2 run.
Believe that. Pittsburgh's on fire. Everybody said they were inconsistent at the beginning of the year, which they obviously were. Winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing. They finally put it together over the last 10 games. The loss to New Orleans was a little bit of a crushing defeat because they really just looked like garbage in that game, pretty much all around. But they pulled it together, got to 11-5, and won that division for the first time since 2010.
Yeah, and ended the season on a 4-0 run, and they won all 4 of those games by at least 7 points.
And I don't want to hear everybody saying that we're not winning these games by enough. You know, like you said, we've won, the last 4 by 7 or more points?
Yeah.
Good teams just win no matter what. You don't always blow people out. You don't have to dominate every single game and every phase. When the Patriots were so dominant when they were cheating to win, they were barely winning games. They were kicking field goals to win those Super Bowls. So I don't care if we don't blow them out by 40 points. All I care about is the W.
And really, if you think about it, 7 points is a pretty big win. If not, Vegas would have their lines at -10.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, the Baltimore Ravens, over the past 2 games, they've looked like garbage. Joe Flacco mostly. He's been playing terrible. They have 33 points in their last 2 games, including a loss at Houston, 25-13, when they had Case Keenum at quarterback. They almost lost versus Cleveland last week. Cleveland took them down to the wire, but Baltimore scored 17 in the 4th quarter. But all in all, they're still 5-2 in their last 7 games.
Yeah, they're winning games. That's another sign of a good team. You know, they may not be playing great, but they're finding ways to win, squeaking out victories against some of these other teams. Pittsburgh is 4-1 against the spread versus Baltimore over the last 3 seasons. They're 3-3 straight up in those games over the last 3 seasons. We've been splitting a lot, the last couple years. I think there's a couple seasons where Baltimore swept the series.
Yeah.
The last time we've played them 3 times in a year, I think we beat them all 3 times.
I don't remember that for sure, but you are probably right.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was our Super Bowl run in 2008.
One thing I'm worried about with the Steelers team is the run game. What is going to happen? Because Baltimore can definitely stop the run.
What about Baltimore's run game? Not to change the subject real quick. Is Forsett playing? I know we're not doing a fantasy segment, so I don't get all those news. The Dash fantasy news.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Forsett is playing, and he looked pretty good last week, too.
All right, so what were you saying before I rudely interrupted you?
I'm just saying about the Steelers' run game. Are they going to be able to get anything done? Baltimore's 4th against the rush. They've been stopping the run all season. We know Le'Veon Bell might not play. Is the Steelers' offense going to be one-dimensional, and is that going to be enough?
This is what my hopes are for the Steelers' run game. Josh Harris, hopefully he knows enough of the playbook and he's enough of a running back to average anywhere between 3 and 3.5 yards a carry, get about 70 yards on, 15, 20 carries, because you can't get one-dimensional. And then if we're in a goal line situation, you expect him to punch it in, regardless. Any running back, if you're good enough to make it to the NFL, you should be able to run 2 yards and get it in the end zone. So those are my hopes for him. Around 70 yards, around 20 carries. You can't let that average dip to 1 or 2 per carry because you don't want the Steelers having a lot of down and distance. You don't want long 2nd and 3rd downs.
And Le'Veon Bell last week only had 20 yards on 10 carries, but it still worked out for the Steelers. But their offense was struggling last week.
Yeah, they got a little lucky. Not lucky. They created their own luck.
Yeah, they deserved the win. But let's not forget they added Ben Tate, too.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're really going to use Ben Tate. I think it's more of an insurance policy. I might use him more on passing downs. I know he's not going to know the playbook really at all, but the guy knows how to block. He's always been a very good 3rd down back.
Yeah, it's just about learning the terminology, really. And you're right, they need him in there on those passing downs because he probably is the best blocker they have if Le'Veon Bell isn't healthy.
The 10 to 15 plays that you would need him to play, maybe, you would think Ben would be able to say, hey, stand over here and block.
Yeah.
Go this way. Do a hook.
Right.
He has a big enough, understanding of the offense to be able to tell Tate what to do. Ben knows what every single person on the offense is doing at every single moment, or at least what they're supposed to be doing.
But to me, the Ravens aren't playing well enough. The Steelers are on a roll right now. I'm going Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm a big Giant Yinzer, especially in the playoffs. I don't think I would ever pick against Pittsburgh. They're my pick of the week this week. I think the Steelers cover, even if the line goes to 3.5 or 4 before game time. I think Pittsburgh wins this game by 10. I just don't see Baltimore's pass defense being able to keep up with Big Ben and our wide receivers. The Here We Go song got a 20th anniversary revamp. I don't know if you heard it, but whenever we get the Here We Go song kicking, the city goes crazy, Pittsburgh plays great, and Baltimore goes home crying. Sorry, Ravens.
I'm guessing this is a spread sweep.
Spread sweep. Everybody's taking Pittsburgh. If you don't take Pittsburgh, it's actually in your contract to take them in the playoffs.
All right, let's move on to Sunday's games. The 1 o'clock game.
Sunday.
The 1 o'clock game is Cincinnati at Indy. Indy is -3, and the over-under is 49. This is going to be my pick of the week.
It's garbage then.
I am 7-2 in picks of the week, and it's pretty much the reason why I won the regular season winning percentage title.
Winning percentage title. You're like Antonio Brown now. You're just making up championships.
Winning percentage is the only thing that matters, man.
Wins! Not winning percentage, it's amount of wins. You got to win more games.
That's nonsense because you pick more games.
The Indianapolis Colts won more games than the Cincinnati Bengals, so the Colts have a higher seed, and they get the home playoff game. It wasn't about winning percentage.
They both played 16 games.
Right. And then Indianapolis won more.
So who has the higher win percentage?
Well, Indianapolis won more games. That's all that matters. End of story.
And their winning percentage is higher. That's what matters.
You're wrong. Colts -3. That's pretty generous if you ask me. Cincinnati's been in the tank lately. Andy Dalton chokes in the playoffs. Last week was pretty much a playoff game for him. They needed that for the division. He choked in that game. The gingerbread man just can't get it done. He can't get it done in primetime games, but this game's at 1 o'clock, so that might help him out a little bit.
It's all primetime in the playoffs.
But Andrew Luck, he's going to dominate the gingerbread man. Andy Dalton's got nothing. He's garbage.
Yeah, I'm not a big Dalton fan, but let's not forget this team is 7-3 over the past 10 games, so it's not like they're playing terrible. They just have trouble against Pittsburgh. Their last 2 losses in their last 7 games were against Pittsburgh, so they won every other game they played.
Well, they can't beat Pittsburgh. They ain't going to win very much. Screw them. I hate Cincinnati. I just want to hate on them.
You're right, though. In Week 7, Cincinnati went into Indianapolis and couldn't score a point. They lost 27-0.
Yeah, see, they got blown out. Andrew Luck knows what's going on. They've been struggling themselves, though. I've been talking up the Colts. They started the season. They were on fire. Lately, they've been struggling a little bit. A couple bad losses here near the end of the year. They're a little beat up. Reggie Wayne has the biceps injury. And what's the matter with T.Y. Hilton? A hip injury or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but he hasn't been...
It's some type of lower body injury.
He hasn't been doing much recently at all.
Their run game's garbage. Trent Richardson should just be taken out and left for dead in the woods somewhere because he's lost it, if he ever had it.
And they lost Bradshaw earlier in the year, who was their best running back. But this high on heroin isn't that bad either.
I think high on heroin got a little bit too high because he's starting to tail off a little bit too.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't look as good as he did when he first came in, but... He's still not the worst. He's better than Trent Richardson. Let's put it that way.
Believe that. The Colts are 9-4 against the spread as a favorite. They're 5-2 against the spread at home, and they're 8-3 against the spread going up against conference opponents. All those things bode well if you're picking the Colts this week. Their offense is high flying. Their defense is better at home than it is away. I don't know the exact stats. I just watched a couple Colts games this year, and you watch them at home, they just have a little bit more of a swagger, if you want to use that word, which I really don't because I hate it. But they can just kind of pin their ears back and try to rush the passer a little better.
Yeah, they are better at home. They've let up 13 points or less in 4 of their last 5 home games. So their defense has been getting it done. Although the one game they didn't let up less than 13 was against Washington, of all teams, where they let up 27.
Yeah, that was one of those trap games maybe. Got a little... clouded. They thought they were just going to go in, roll over them, and roll out, and then they got rolled over. Garbage. Cincinnati Bengals. They're 6-2 against the spread as underdogs, 4-4 against the spread in road games. They're 6-5 against the spread in conference games. None of those are too impressive, right around 500. And like we said before, Andy Dalton always chokes in the playoffs, so I have no faith in them. I'm going to have to take the Colts in this game.
Really, if the Bengals have any chance in this game, it's their run game between Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard. These two have run for close to 2,000 yards, a couple hundred yards off. They ran for 14 touchdowns. But I just think Cincinnati's defense isn't good enough to keep Andrew Luck and that offense off the board, whether Hilton's there or not. And really, Cincinnati has no passing game either. I'm going Indy, too.
Cincy does have a good running game, though, if they can get it going. Well, John's taking the Bengals in this game.
What?
He's sticking his neck out. I don't really know what he's sticking his neck out on.
It would be nice if the Bengals could make the AFC Championship and play the Pittsburgh Steelers. How about that? Huh?
That would be cool to play two AFC North opponents twice, beat the crap out of them again.
Yeah.
Big Easy's taking the Colts. He's smarter than Johnny Parlay. Sorry, Parlay, but I got to hate when you're picking the Bengals.
Yeah, none of that here on the spread. What's going on?
Nope.
During the regular season, we don't care. During the playoffs, you got to be out of your mind.
You don't come to work, you pick the Bengals, you're losing it.
Yeah, man, you're treading on thin ice these days with the spread. Jim might terminate your contract.
You never know. What's the last game we got?
The last game is at 4:40 on Sunday. It is Detroit at Dallas. Dallas is -6.5, and the over/under is 48. Dallas has actually been better on the road than at home this season. They went 8-0 on the road, while all 4 of their losses have come at home.
Yeah, they've been garbage at home. Maybe Jerry World's too much for Tony Romo.
Let's not forget, though, their last home game, they played Indianapolis and blew them out 42-7.
Did Indy have anything to play for in that game?
Yeah, sure. That was a Week 16 game, so they definitely still had something to play for. That was when Andrew Luck blew it for Johnny Parlay in fantasy, if you remember. T.Y. Hilton didn't play. Reggie Wayne, like you said, he's injured. So they really didn't have all their players.
Well, what's DeMarco Murray's health like? I know he hurt his hand, 2 weeks ago now. He played through the injury. Then Dallas didn't have much to play for last week, so I don't think he really played a whole lot, if any.
He actually had 14 carries in the first quarter, maybe a little over first quarter, but then after that, he didn't really have a touch.
They shut him down, okay. So he should be all right. It wasn't like a devastating injury. I think it was like a cracked metatarsal in his hand, which isn't really that bad for anybody who's ever had a broken bone in their hand.
Yeah,
if the offensive line for Dallas can play the way it has all season, they're going to make it tough for Detroit. Now, the good thing for Detroit is Ndamukong Suh, his suspension was appealed.
Garbage.
He said his feet were numb, man. He couldn't feel Aaron Rodgers'
He couldn't
ankle.
notice that he grew 3 inches in a matter of seconds.
No, he could not. His feet were numb. You didn't hear? My feet go numb all the time when it's only 20 degrees outside.
Anybody in their right mind knows when something like that happens, as soon as you step on something and you didn't know what's going on, you jump off. You know what I mean? You spring forward.
Listen, I've walked into a dark living room before and stepped into a pile of dog crap and slid and almost fell into the dog crap before. So
gross.
I notice when something's under my feet.
Yeah, please believe Sue.
He's so dirty.
Aaron Rodgers should sue him.
Isn't he the one who kicked what's his name? Pick 6. Matty Pick 6. He kicked him in the balls, didn't he?
Yeah,
on Thanksgiving, I think it was.
Yeah. That was either last year or the year before, and there was a lineman. He stepped on his hand or whatever.
Yeah, his hand or his head or something.
This dude, I'm
He's
tired of him.
He's punching chicks in the off season. I don't know what's going on. He's a free agent this year. I don't think Detroit's going to re-sign him.
But really, this is a huge game for the run game because Detroit, they're number 1 against the run, letting up just over 69 yards a game, and Dallas is number 2 in rushing with 147.1. I want to see
clash of the Titans.
Detroit's been stopping the run all season, so this is huge. I think they're going to stop the run again.
You think they appealed the suspension just because they didn't want to affect a playoff game's outcome and get blasted by the media?
That's not their problem, though.
I'm just saying, do you think that was, one of the underlying reasons?
I mean, really, they did suspend him for the game originally.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what Sue did to make them overturn it. It's just ridiculous to me.
Maybe he had them all stand outside in the cold and let their feet get numb, and then they all got to stomp on Aaron Rodgers' ankle and see if they could feel it. That'd be a good way to find out if he was lying. I'd stomp on his ankle, quite honestly. I hate Aaron Rodgers.
No, you gotta like Aaron Rodgers. He's a good quarterback. I know they beat the Steelers in the Super
pump you
Bowl.
up commercials irritate me. The State Farm ones.
Well, I didn't
so
say his
bad.
commercials are good. Ben's commercial wasn't that great either.
You know what? F that. Ben's commercial for ESPN when he was carrying the people out of the building with the fire alarm. He's like, I gotta go get some more people. Doesn't he know it's just a drill? That was the best. Dallas Cowboys, back to football.
They're 6-1 in their last 7 games, and they're on a 4-game winning streak right now. And they beat Indy and Philly in this 4-game winning streak, so they're on a roll. Tony Romo, I know you hate him, but let's face it, he's had a great season. He's been thrown for a ton of touchdowns over the second half of the season. He ended the season with 3,700 yards and 34 touchdowns. Romo's on fire right now.
Romo is garbage.
Well, listen, over this 4-game winning streak, they've scored at least 38 points in all 4 games.
Wait, you put me to sleep with these Tony Romo stats. I'm sorry.
Tony Romo's
garbage. You know, it just amazes me how people think he's so good. He comes in, he plays well in the regular season. I never said he was so good. You're making him sound like he's a freaking Hall of Famer. He's going to go down as the best quarterback in the whole world.
No, I'm just saying he's had one of his best seasons, if not his best season of his career this season.
I want to give a quick shout out on Twitter to @AthleteStorm. You just started following us on Twitter right now. I just got the alert. So if you're listening to the show after we post it, word up, homie.
Thank you very much. But yeah, back to Tony Romo, man. It's his best season of his career. Usually, you say he's not good in the playoffs. Usually, they don't even make the playoffs. Usually, he blows it in December.
Well, if he can't even win in December, he's certainly not going to be able to win in January. It gets colder.
4-0 in December this season, man.
I don't know.
Something's changed, I'm telling you.
That's because they're letting Murray run it.
Detroit is going to stop the run this week, but I think they're going to have trouble against the pass. I think Tony Romo is going to do it again.
Well, after I blast Tony Romo for about 5 minutes, I'm going to tell everybody that I'm picking Dallas in this game to beat Detroit. The Cowboys are having a much better season. Not that Detroit's fallen off, but they're in a little bit of a down spot in their year. I think the Cowboys are peaking. DeMarco Murray's healthy. Des Bryant's killing it. Jason Witten, he's steady. He's nothing fantastic. He's kind of like Heath Miller. He still blocks pretty well. He gets the job done when you throw him the football. So if Dallas can just keep doing what they're doing and shake off that little bit of rust of trying to win in the playoffs, I think they win this game.
Me too. Detroit's offense has had their problems all season.
Yeah, they're offensive.
Joique Bell has been playing better recently. He has 7 touchdowns on the ground on the season. Stafford threw for over 4,200 yards, but he's had a down season. Yeah. Kelvin Johnson, he was hurt early in the season. He still ended up with 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. But he was actually listed as questionable as early as yesterday, so he's not 100% right now. Their offense already had so many problems. I don't think they're going to score that many points against Dallas, and I think Dallas's offense is just too good for this very, very good Detroit defense.
2 touchdowns for Des Bryant.
Des Bryant's a beast.
2 touchdowns for Tony Romo, but I think he's going to throw 2 picks, but Dallas still wins the game.
I agree.
I just like to hate on Romo, so if I pick Dallas to win, I got to say he's going to do something bad.
You got to score at least 1 touchdown.
I got to level it out a little bit there. I can't be too nice to Tony.
What would Easy and Parlay take?
Let's see. Easy took Dallas. That's his pick of the week. And Johnny Parlay, he took Detroit. That's his pick of the week. So they're going against each other.
And in picks of the week, Johnny Parlay is 7-8, and Easy is 5-5. So it's tough. Easy got the better winning percentage, but none of those give you too much confidence.
Johnny Parlay is doing so well in his picks. Just his pick of the week is garbage.
But everybody taking Dallas besides Johnny Parlay. That is a spread solo.
Spread solo parlay. Well, I want to thank you fans for listening. I want to thank you, Dash, for being the only one that came to work today. You guys can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You can like us on Facebook, search us on YouTube, like those videos, and subscribe to that channel.
Please believe.
Get it done.